Hello. Hello. Hello, dear student. Very good evening to all of you. So, dear student, today we are going to see about 9th July, the Hindu newspaper analysis. So, today we are going to see about 9th July, the Hindu newspaper analysis. So, dear student, you can get this highlighted version of the Hindu newspaper. You simply scan this QR code, or you can download our Strivage IAS application. From there, you'll get not the today newspaper, all the first newspaper available there. You can simply scan this QR code to join our Telegram as well. And those who are using iOS or iPad, so they can simply download the Class Plus application and use our code PKRMEJ to get this ticket. And dear student, let me tell you one thing. So during this discussion, I am going to give you 10 to 12 questions. So during this discussion, so it is your homework. After completion or during this lecture, you have to search and collect all this information. You have to conduct detailed study of that particular topics. So it is my promise, if you do that, you'll get 20 to 30 marks extra in your prelims, and in mains you'll get 80 plus marks as compared to what other students are getting. Okay, so it is a very good, this marks will going to decide whether you are going to select or reject in the prelims and mains. Okay, so first one is over 400 suspect illegal migrant round off in the Odisha for verification. So recently, intensification of its effort to identify illegal immigrant from Bangladesh and Myanmar illegally residing in Odisha, Jharsuguda district. So administration recently round of 444 suspect foreign nationals and officials. This is what said by the officials. So these people are mostly working in the construction sector and mining sector. So Ministry of Home Affairs given 30 days deadline for the state and union territory to identify and verify all those who don't have documents and those who have doubt that they might be from the foreign. So to invoke the statutory power to detect, detain, and report the illegal migrants. So Odisha government has constituted a special task force in each district to comprise officers from different departments so that we can identify and deport those who are illegal migrant. Okay. So next important news is USA trade deal. India still targeting July deadline. There is a deadline that by 9th July we have to sign the trade. Otherwise, USA will impose higher trade tariff on the Indian good. So, so US President Donald Trump has extended his tariff falls to 1st of August and threatened new hike for 14 country. Negotiated could extend date if deal specific don't suit to the India, official says. So India expect to announce a mini trade deal. That means there are area where there is a convergence. That means we are agreeing with that and US is agreeing with that. So we'll first implement that, and later on we can implement full deals. Okay. So in a day or two, government officials said so Thursday that USA President Donald Trump has now extended his tariff was until August. They said so Donald Trump has said that the close, US is closing, very close to making a deal with the India. So you can see here Donald Trump, after coming into power, impose high tariff on the different country and proposes tariff that is going to be kicked in or imposed on India if we don't have any trade agreement. It is 26%. Okay. And last minute revision, Donald Trump initiated 90 days pause. So first initiated high tariff, later on said that I'm giving 90 days pause, so that within that date you have to be very correct and make sure that it should be compliance. Okay. So next, this is a very good development. No more backbencher. So film inspired the change in the Kerala school. So there is a prejudice that exists among the student, teacher, and even the education community. Those who are sitting on the backbencher, we generally think that they are late comer, they are trouble creator in the classroom. But this arrangement have changed everything. For example, instead of arranging that, we can arrange class teacher is can be at the center, and we can have round arrangement and student can sit around that corner. So that is what going to eliminate the backbencher prejudice. So there are even good students who are emerged from the backbencher also. So here you can say untraditional, you can say unconventional way of thinking. So you can talk about innovative way, ethics model example, because those who are sitting at the back, so they have a perception that they are not good student, they are not going to do anything. So that is what impact their performance also. So if you are having a proper schooling arrangement, so that boosts their morale as well. So next is Karnataka government award center node for three water projects. So three water projects. So union government is yet to notify the Krishna Tribunal 2 awards. Release fund already allocated for Upper Bhadra project. So Karnataka government has again petitioned the central regarding the approval of three of the major water projects. So first one is Yatina Hole and Kalsa Banduri drinking water project. So dear student, you have to study about map about this river project. This river project are located on which river, and and this river is passing through which state. So there can be very good question. Okay? If there is a water body, if there is any mountain located to that, even in past they have asked multiple question on that also. Okay? Then Upper Bhadra to irrigate the arid region part of the state. So, notification of Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal. So, dear student, you have to study about different water dispute tribunal has been set up by the government to provide awards. So it can say Krishna Water Dispute Tribunal, Godavari Water Dispute Tribunal, Kaveri Water Dispute Tribunal. So there are so many tribunals. So if you need to study about the polity and what are the problem faced by this tribunal. So there are delay in this award of the tribunal, and after so many delays, the award they are given that is not acceptable to the either of the states. So and the tribunal award or final, that is what mentioned in our constitution, but state are appealing in the high court against the order given by this tribunal. So this is what the problem. So next is roadblock. Yatina Hole project in Western Ghat of Hassan district has hit a roadblock over the forest land acquisition. Okay, Kalsa Banduri project has been opposed by the neighboring Goa. So Karnataka has also seeking fund to complete the Upper Bhadra project. Center yet to notify the Krishna Tribunal award that help in irrigate large tract of the land in the northern Karnataka. Okay. So Yatin whole project and our plan to provide revenue land in lieu of forest land. So the Karnataka government is says that in Yatin whole project, if let's say the project is going to divert certain amount of land, then we will provide our revenue land for reforestation of that region. Okay? The objections to use 423 acres of forest land has we propose alternative revenue land by paying compensations to the farmer who have been using the forest land for 45 years. The forest department has raised objections to this, stating that the land belongs to it. More than half of the work has been completed at the site. We have already spent, so this amount of money is spent. So next is Kalasa Banduri project was discussed. Goa does not have right to object to the project. So there is a dispute between Karnataka and Goa on the Kalasa Banduri project. So dear student, there in UPSC they can ask about river and dispute between the states. So on the one column they can ask about different river and which state dispute are involved, and then ask about one statement, two statement, how many above are correct. So you have to prepare that on that line. Dear student, those who are preparing for OPSC, if you want to have a test series, so you can join it for film test series. So price are very nominal. You'll get very high quality questions. So by scanning this QR code, or you can download our Strivage IAS application. So ensure adequate urea supply to meet agricultural need. This is what said by Ravanta Kumar to the center. So recently we are seeing that at the national level there is a shortage of urea after some foreign country like China, they ban the export of urea from their country. So Telangana Chief Minister Ravanta Reddy urged the center to ensure timely and adequate supply of urea to meet the state agricultural need ongoing monsoon season. Yes, farmer are now they started having cultivation if urea is not available timely, so that might impact productivity of our agriculture. With water reaching the irrigation projects due to heavy rain, so catchment area and cultivation in full swing across, so we need to have adequate supply of the urea. Okay, so Chief Minister said that center has allocated 63,000 metric tons of domestically produced urea and 97 metric tons of imported urea for this month. However, as of now, only 29 metric tons have been supplied to the Telangana. So, that means we need to supply more, and Telangana also demand more railway racks should be available for transport of urea. So, it is not about the Telangana, it is about entire state. So, if any question regarding how our agriculture is suffer from this all this kind of policy, so you can talk about that, how our agriculture is suffering because of international problems. So you can talk about recently there is a blockage of China export of urea. So that is what impact our productivity at the farmer. Okay. So rare hornbill sighting in the Izamala Spark renew call for biodiversity conservation. So you can see this is a very beautiful bird. So this great hornbill is the state bird of Kerala. So you can see the state, it's the state bird of Kerala. So this is found recently in Kerala. It is clear indication that Kerala is having rich biodiversity. So it is one of the biodiversity hotspots. So typically found in the evergreen and moist deciduous forests such as Silent Valley, Nilam Pathi and Alif Pathi. So you can see here the location. And if you see about the species conservation status, listed as endangered by International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources. So according to IUCN, this bird is endangered and it is protected Schedule 1 of the Wildlife Protection Act. Great hornbill appear in the Gijimala spark both excitement and renewed call for conservation effort in the area. Okay, so let's move to the last page. So you can search about recently there is a gene edited rice. Recently there is a gene edited rice has better prospect uptake and more yield. So NIPGR means Delhi West National Institute of Plant Genome Research have used CRISPR-Cas. So CRISPR-Cas is used for gene editing. Like if there is a gene, let's say this is a faulty gene, we can cut that gene and add a new gene here so that we can get a desired traits in a particular plant. So gene editing technology to increase the phosphate uptake and transport to the Japonica rice variety. This result in rice lines have higher seed and pinnacle numbers, thus the higher yield without compromising seed quality. This study also carried out on in a greenhouse, like controlled environment. So phosphorus is an essential mineral for plant growth and development. When it available is limited, so crop productivity plumped. So even when phosphate fertilizer are used, only 15 to 20% are taken by the plant, rest leach out or lost in the surface runoff. So dear student, tell me in the comment box, if only 15 to 20% of phosphate is used by the plant and rest they are leaching, so what are the environmental impact of phosphate pollution? So one important implication is it creates something on the surface of the water body. So what is this term? Green patches you find in the water body, this is called because of phosphorus pollution. What do you call this? There is an environmental term for that. So gene editing lines show that increasing phosphate uptake resulting 40% higher yield compared to the control group, which yield reduced sharply. So rice absorb phosphate through its roots, transfer it to the shoots. One class of transport bring phosphate from soil into root, another organic phosphate transporter. So yeah, that means this help in more transportation of the phosphate from the roots to the plant, so that our demand for the fertilizer is going to reduce. So you can talk about this kind of plant variety we need to develop, so that our environmental pollution will reduce, our use of fertilizer consumption is also going to reduce. So it is win-win for everyone. Okay? So next is Sierra Leone. So dear student, you have to map about the Sierra Leone. So island despair as rising oceans threaten its survival. So you can just read it. So island has lost 2/3 of its surface area and measure only 200-meter long and 100-meter wide. All that remain in an islet ring by cans with sacks of cluster at the center. So you have to just map these locations. Okay? You have to map this location. So that is more than enough for your examination. No need to go in detail. So next is macro call for UK and European Union to de-risk their tie with America and China. So recently we have seen after Donald Trump coming into power, there is more of transactionism, more of show off, and that is the reason even UK and European Union, they are they are trying to move away from this dependency on the USA, and at the same time we cannot rely on the China behavior. You know that whenever it is try you have anything, it can simply block anything. Recently we have seen that how China blocked rare earth minerals. So that is the reason. So everyone want to have alternative supply chain. So that is the reason India can be play that alternative route. So India, if play this card very well, so we can emerge as an alternative to this USA and China. So emerge as a manufacturing hub. So that is what they are saying. So here you can see. So we will have well de-risk our two country for excessive dependence on both USA and China. That he was not equating China with USA. That means China is completely different system. We cannot rely China. So China could distort supply chain with excess capacity and subsidy. The trade war is correct. Clearly explicit decision not to be compliant anymore with WTO. Okay? That means after Donald Trump coming into power, Donald Trump not listening to the anything. So even started imposing high tariff. He can not listening any sort of listening to people. So that is what impacting the world trade rules. Okay. And dear student, those who want to join our mains answer writing program, you can simply scan this QR code to join our mains answer writing program. So Trump and Netanyahu take leave victory to marks Iran strike. So you can see here the Israel Prime Minister nominate USA leader for Nobel Peace Prize, saying he forging peace one reason after the other. So both leader optimistic that their success in Iran would mark a new era in the West Asia. So you can understand it. I have no need. I don't want to comment anything. So here Trump to send more weapon to the Ukraine. So recently we are seeing that Ukraine is fighting very tough war with Russia. So to fight back, so USA is decided to supply more weapon. Okay. So next is auto part industry six national strategy on critical minerals. So recently we have seen that China blocked the critical minerals to the India. So all these critical minerals are used for manufacturing of the magnets. Okay. So that is the reason country automobile industry particularly hit the hard. So they want to have alternative industry. The you can see for potential production loss account of shortage of rare earth magnets. Auto component industry body they sought alternate. So where alternative is available, Australia to source rare earth minerals. Australian officers said. So India and Australia are talking about rare earth that are blocks available. So there is an opportunity for India to take early stage block and have tie up with a new company. So besides rare earth, both also explore a possibility in exploration in the copper also, because India is also quite shortage in copper, but we need copper for our electrical industry and you can say a renewable energy industry. So we are aware that there is a smelter and farm like Adani have made big investment. There is a capacity available. So there is an abundance copper. That is one people are looking for it. So dear student, those who want to join our Dronacharya Yellow mentorship program, you can simply scan this QR code to join. So next is Uber may implement social security code by end of this year. So this is a welcoming development. Recently we are seeing that so many people are working as a gig worker, platform worker. They are working very hard. Let's say you want your delivery in 10 minutes. If someone is delivering in 10 minutes, during that rush to deliver, so if some accident is happened, so who is going to held responsible? No one is held responsible. So they are making our life easy, but we are not concerning about that. So recently to ride hailing service talk center on how go about enforcing legislation. So recently, so there is a talk that we need to ensure all those who are working, they should get social security. So Uber India may implement code on social security for its driver by end of the calendar year. It is talk with union government on this regard. Okay. So there is, so you can see we have passed the code on social security. Center passed code on social security in 2020 when country experienced informal sector labor. After the COVID-19 we have suffered a lot. So to bring about social security we have implemented that, and that social security code provide for a fund, and that fund to be created by union government, state government, and aggregator. Aggregator means like Ola, Uber, those who are aggregating. Code lay provision for gig worker, informal worker, and platform worker for life and disability cover, health and maternity benefits, old age protection, education, any other benefit may be determined by the central government. The National Social Security Board, which would be represented from the aggregator, platform worker, director general, corporation, okay, so they will manage it. While code formulated and passed both house of the parliament, Supreme Court, it is not being implemented. So it is being passed in 2020. It is not yet implemented. So because of that, Supreme Court recently questioned and asked it to implement very strictly. Okay, and after that, Uber is implementing it. So we hope that it is going to implement it and bring a lot of changes. So NSC FPO volume. So diff on Gen Street crackdown. So recently we have seen that the Gens Street, they manipulate the stock market and huge amount of profit. So because of that, SEBI banned the Gen Street. So after that, there is a fall in the future trade. So you can see daily turnover in the future and options segment NSE is 1.15 lakh crore. So it is down from around 30%. Once used to be 1.61. So we need to be very careful, prevent such kind of manipulation so that we can protect our retail investor. Okay. And dear student, those who want to practice the the UPSC question on real time basis, you can simply scan this QR code to practice it. Okay. So next, nearly 600 Ecolabio school children crack the IIT JEE NET, say Tribal Affair Minister. So this is a welcoming development. So this you have to remember this scheme. So for education of the tribal student, government is implementing Ecolabia Model Residential School. So for tribal students across 12 states have cleared the top entrance examination this year for undergraduate study, medicine and engineering across the country. So this is what said by the Tribal Affairs Ministry. So there are around 596 students of the Ecolabia Model Residential School from Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, Jharkhand, Gujarat, Telangana, Uttarakhand. So these states, so they've qualified either IIT, JEE, NET. So one of officials said that the first time that such a data have been compiled by the Ecolabia Model Residential School. So is one of the tribal affairs flagship schemes. Union government has last 5 years pushes major reform in the administration, for example, including trying to centralize their running through setting up a national education society for tribal students. So it is, we can say, center recently centralized through the NESTS. Okay. So we can also see that this is also helpful in particular vulnerable tribal group, that is PBTG. So they are getting close to 85% of the student population. So we can say this scheme is very beneficial for the tribal student. If you implement properly, it is going to helpful in good way. So country-wide survey reveal deficit in student learning. So dear student, here it is given lot of data. So after reading that, you have to note them down. So whenever you are talking about our education system is facing crisis, then here you have to give this data to support your argument. In examination, whatever you are saying, you need to support that with argument. So result of the performance assessment review analysis of knowledge for holistic development Rastriya Sarvekshan, that is Parak RS, formerly known as National Achievement Survey. So earlier it is used to be called National Achievement Survey. Now change have revealed that the Punjab, Himachal Pradesh, Kerala, Dadra Nagar Haveli and Daman Diu, they are best performing. So just study about their finding and note them out. So they can be very good point in your examination whenever you are talking, our education quality is declining, our education quality is good, which state is performing well. So you can give this example. So next is vitamin D deficiency poses public health challenges. This is what said by the expert. So there is a severe vitamin D deficient. So vitamin D deficiency has reached epidemic proportion in India and ignoring could serious health consequences. Experts said that. Okay. So vast majority of Indian estimate between 40 to 90% vitamin D lifestyle changing, like we are staying in indoor and like using sunscreen, sun protective clothes. So that is the reason there is a deficiency. Calling it sunlight vitamin. So vitamin D can be synthesized by exposing our body to the sunlights. Okay, so plates, vitamin D is very essential for bone health and calcium absorption. Its deficiency can lead to the rickets in the children. If there is a deficiency of vitamin D, it can cause rickets or osteomalacia in the adult. He urged the midday sun exposure and dietary, including fish, meat, egg yolk, fortified dairy, and product and mushroom. However, only 20% of orally consumed, vitamin D is absorbed. So that means whatever you are eating, only 25% can be consumed. So we have to have sunlight. So targeting, screening, and fortified food option can be a good option. But having excess of D can cause toxicity in the vitamin D. It is support not just the bone muscles health, but also play broader role in regulating blood pressure, reducing inflammation, potentially lowering the risk of type 1 diabetes. Okay? So that is the reason we need to have proper screening. We need to create awareness about that also. Na? So next is a public account committee tell DGCA to hold complete safety audit of all the aircraft. Recently, there is a severe fatal accident that is happened. So because of that, so many people are died in the accident. And after that, the public account committee, they gave asked about the Director General of Civil Aviation to ensure that that should be a proper safety, so that people should have, people should not have any fear of taking the air route. Okay. So Bihar rule revision, 15 out of the 11 documents do not display date or place of birth. You can imagine what kind of action we are doing. So the government is for helping the people, but what kind of action we are taking? It is actually creating trouble for us, na? Because whatever document you are saying, we need to provide 11 document list, and out of that 11 list, 5 document don't have date or place of birth. Then how come people are going to prove there? So that is what election commission, before implementing such scheme, they have to be study, they have to conduct some mock, they have to understand that what is the implication. Policy need to be implemented after having at the ground level. Policy cannot be implemented at the AC room of the Delhi. So it should be on the ground level. We have to understand ground reality. So at least 5 of the 11 key documents out by the election commission for special intensive revision of electoral roll in Bihar do not indicate applicant place or birth. So one of the prerequisite for inclusion in the roll. So you can see 5 document is not available. So Aadhaar, voter ID, and PAN card have not been included. You can see this is the common ID proof that is not being included. And you know you can see about another is 2 document that is required. National Registry of Citizen and Family Register also not exist in the Bihar. So you can see government is saying to provide document, the document is not available in the state. That means we are penalizing to the people because of the state failure. When state is failed to provide this kind of document, then why we are penalizing the people? You should penalize the government. But that is what not happening. That is the reason people are opposing this special intensive drive. So terror attack accused in India use online payment service e-commerce site. So we have seen that time and again multiple attacks being carried out in India. So it is seen that they are use a payment, online payment like PayPal, to transfer money from the foreign country to India. They use e-commerce site to procure all this equipment is needed to make this bomb. Okay. So you can say that in future, to counter all this terrorism, we have to be very careful about the payment service and how e-commerce been used. Okay. So Indian Navy ink pact with BEL to boost coastal security. So Indian Navy has enter contract with Bharat Electronic Limited for execution of National Maritime Domain Awareness. So National Maritime Domain Awareness, that means we should be aware about what is going on in the maritime, which ships is there. So that is what called National Maritime Domain Awareness. Okay. So next important issue is India Brazil partnership is for relevant for the world. So this is what said by our Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So two large democracy nations are unanimous that disputes should be resolved by diplomacy. Prime Minister says, highlighting their role in safeguarding the interest of the global South. So India and Brazil were agreement that all global problems should be resolved through the dialogue. Prime Minister said to the Brazilian president. So speaking after bilateral meeting, so both said that India-Brazil strategic partnership said that India-Brazil cooperation important pillar for the world. So both countries are focusing on the global south. We know that there is an organization called IPSA, India, Brazil, South Africa. So this organization focus on the south also. So the Prime Minister also received the Grand Collar of National Order. So this is the highest honor of the Brazil. So strengthening the cooperation every field. So we have set a targets of 20 billion trade in next 5 years. So we are we are not able to tap our full potential of our trade. So we have set a targets of 20 billion by next 5 years. So sign 6 pact so fast, including renewable energy, cooperation in combating terrorism, intellectual property, agricultural, protection of the classified information. So working together to adoption of the unified payment interface in Brazil also, so that it is quite easy for transfer of payment. So Supreme Court deny relief to the MP cartoonist over Prime Minister and Rashtriya Swayamsang caricature. So recently what happened, you have the fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression, but that is, you need to be used that in a very responsible and careful way. You should not use or misuse that to abuse anyone, contempt anyone. So that is what happened in here. So though Article 19 provide you the freedom of speech and expression, but there should be reasonable restriction, so it cannot be used for damaging someone else image. So Bihar makes domicile must for the job quota. So recently the Bihar make it compulsory for domicile must for job quota. Okay. So next it is given important that India is still targeting July deadline. So here we can see last point it is given is quite important. So the main issue that is holding the trade deal between India and USA is that USA continue to be genetically modified crop and dairy products. So USA want they should export the genetically modified crop and dairy import. But in India we don't allow any genetically modified crop in our food product, and dairy our farmer are very small and marginal farmer. If we opened up that for the foreign countries, so that might flood and destroy our small farmer. So USA is pushing India to allow import of GM products such as soybean meal, distillery dry grains, ठीक है, and animal feeds. So by product production, India has not been inclined to GM crop even produced domestically, let alone import. So we are not yet producing the GM crop domestically, so how come we can allow the foreign country to import the GM crop na? So next is fostering innovation from business model to deep tech. So recently, our Trade and Commerce Ministry, Piyush Goyal ji, given a very good statement. Like we are creating so many startups, but are they really the startups? Startup means they are finding new innovative way to solution. We are simply redesigning our manufacturing, like redesigning our markets. For example, earlier it is the kirana shop, now it is the Swiggy, Swiggy, or you can say the Jepto. So they are just redesigning, repackaging. We are not doing any sort of innovation. So look at the China, USA, so UK, they are doing the real development, like developing some advanced technology. So that is what called deep technology. So deep technology is about so so AI, robotics, Internet of Things, IoT, drones. Well, these are deep tech. So deep tech cannot happen just by looking at that. So we need to have domain knowledge, we need to have invest lot of things on that. Okay. So here it is say that without a culture of experimentation, long term thinking, no amount of funding can build the deep tech. So R&D culture to flourish, founder need to that they are hand in technicality, and deep tech company are built by the founder with hand on technical expertise. So you can see about Microsoft, all other company, they are developed just because their expertise, the expertise of the owner. Think about Google, Tesla, and Nvidia and Microsoft. They are founder, engineer, builder, and code. So they have built that. So India can have that. So India's aspiration to lead the deep tech is by timely necessary, but realizing vision, we must need step across the entire ecosystem. Okay, so just read this article. So it's a very good article. You can talk about what kind of step India should take so that we can be a leader in the deep technology, be that AI, be that machine learning, be that big technology, be that drone manufacturing. Okay. So next, what will be effect of rising military spending all over the world? Recently, we have seen that there is a rising in the military spending. Even the NATO recently announced that they will spend around 5% of their GDP on the military. So here it is given in detail how different countries are spending according to the SIPRI, Stockholm Peace Research Institute. So they can ask about what is the full form of SIPRI. So it published that global level we are spending around 2.7 trillion on the military spending, and out of that, top five spender are, first one is about the USA spend around 997, almost 1 trillion, half of amount is spent by USA. And second is China, 300 billion, and Russia at 149, Germans and 88, and fifth, at the fifth level, it is the India. Okay. So we are seeing that recently NATO is planning to increase its funding so that NATO alone contribute 55% of the funding. So we know that when more money is spending on the military, so that lead to the polarization and militarization, so conflict may increase. Second, by spending more on the military. So we are left with less money for the developmental project. So that led to the declining the budget for the education, health, all these things. On the one hand, Donald Trump is cutting the budget towards the UN. So UN budget is hardly, UN budget is hardly 44 billion. So out of that, it is not able to reach that. And because of that, there is a severe crisis that is we are facing at the international level. But on the other hand, we are spending huge amount of money on weaponization. So you can see about the US ad. So they spend around 50 to 60 billion worldwide. So that is helpful for, you can see, healthcare, nutrition, and prevent 91 million death in low and middle country. So if we are spending more on the military, so that means there is a squeeze this amount, na? So even in case of India, post Operation Sindoor, we are seeing that government is spending more on the defense budget. So that is the reason we have squeezed our spending in the education, health. Even in our health, it is spending. We are spending around 1.4% of the GDP, which is very less. And according to the National Health Policy, it is talking about we have to spend around 2.5% of our GDP, and to reach a developed level, so we need to spend 5 to 6%. So which is very distant dream. If we spend more on the defense, this less amount of money is available for spending in the developmental activity. So that is what the problem with increasing defense expenditure. So just read it out, you'll understand a lot. Okay. So next is how fast is India's fastest man. So who is the India's fastest man? So Animesh Kunjur. So Animesh Kunjur is the fastest man. So since 1968, 1027 athletes around 90 countries have run 100-meter faster than the Animesh Kunjuru. So that means we have to go a lot to have championship at the Olympic level. So next is grand ambition troubling question. So Andhra Pradesh government 81,900 crore Polavaram Banakachala link, which aim to transfer surplus water from the Godavari river to the Banakachala in drought from Rayalaseema region is limbo. Limbo means in a state of you can say conflict, not proceed ahead. So this is a contentious project as Telangana argue that it violates the provision of the Andhra Pradesh. So this project is being implemented by the Andhra Pradesh, and Telangana opposing that it is violating the Andhra Pradesh Reorganization Act. The Export Appraisal Committee denied the clearance. The committee argued that the Godavari Water Dispute Tribunal award must be examined and that Central Water Commission should be consulted before any environmental approval. So that is the reason the expert committee recently denied that. And while the BOLT project solutions to the Rayalaseema region of the Andhra Pradesh, it is facing acute water scarcity. So this project aimed to transfer this water. So on paper, project engineer marvel. However, the scale demand, we don't know its energy cost, environmental footprint, and legal uncertainty. The project required 3,377 megawatt of power. You can imagine how much power it is demand. So before implementing such a large scale, we need to have lot of studies to understand environmental impact, power, everything impact we have to study. Okay, official point out that this scheme will never, generate only 430 megawatt. That is a fraction of it what is needed to run this scheme, na? So it is unclear why the state is opting from energy intensive solution, that is pumping from water from a low lying area to the high lying area, when there are alternative exists, that is water we can divert from high area to low area by using gravity. So to irrigate Rayalaseema, significant less financial and environmental cost. Gravity based projects such as Galeru Nagari conceived decade back. So this is what the controversy. Just read it out. So we are planning to have lot of interlinkage river project. So it can be important for your prelims or in mains. You can talk about this example how we are planning to have interstate river water transport, so that we can ensure flooding and a drought situation. And in prelims, they can ask about this project located in which river and which state. So this article is written by the PDT Achari, so former Lok Sabha Secretary General. Very good article. So dear student, you have to study it very well. The Election Commission of India ordered a special intensive revision of electoral roll in Bihar, which is facing assembly election in November. So political party opposition have alleged that SRIMS disenfranchised thousands of voters in Bihar by disqualifying them on the ground that are not citizen of India. ECI has denied this allegation, justify the revision. In the meantime, so here it is given a very good analysis of everything. So how the power is being used. So reason for disqualification. Okay, so Article 326 of if you study the article, it is talking about, constitution declare that elections to the Lok Sabha and Assembly shall be held on the basis of universal adult franchise. So here you can get about, election, universal adult franchisee. This means that every adult person is entitled to voter provided they are not disqualified on certain ground. So there are two essential grounds for elect voter under the article. So first one is, it should be age should be more than 80. Okay, and first one is the citizen of India. Second should be age should be more than 18. And Representation of People Act lay down the disqualification for register as a vote elector. There are namely unsound mind. That means if someone is not having good mind, they cannot vote. So qualification for voting as provided on section 11 condition laid down the registration as a voter laid down that the person should not be less than 18 years of age and they should be ordinary resident in a constituency. So two conditions given also a Representation of People Act. The term ordinary resident explain that if a person is just having a property or that doesn't mean the ordinary resident of a state, but that also extend that if some person is away from a particular location for few temporary duration, that is also not mean that this person should not be included. Okay, so ECI enjoyed no doubt enormous power in respect of preparation of electoral roll and conduct of elections to the parliament, the state legislature, and to office of president and vice president. So here ECI conduct elections to the you can say parliament, state legislature, president and vice president. So this can be a very good question. And election of state legislative council is conducted by which organization? So tell me in the comment box who conduct elections to the state legislative council. So which empower ECI to undertake this task characterized by the Supreme Court as a reservoir of power. Since conduct of the free and fair election, it is essential feature of the democratic feature of the constitution. So ECI need to have vested with all necessary powers. But Supreme Court has made it clear that ECI can exercise all this power and discretion in area where not covered by any law of the state or parliament. Whenever there is no law, that means Election Commission of India can use its power under Article 324 to take any steps. Whenever there is law, then here the Election Commission of India cannot use anything. So there is a case Mahinder Gill versus Chief Election Commission of India. Court stated that law as follow. Firstly, when Parliament or any state legislature made valid law relating connection with the election, Commission shall act in conformity with, not in violation of that. That means whenever there is a law, Commission has to follow that. And Article 324 reservoir of power to act for avowed purpose pushing forward free and fair election. So whenever there is a stake exists that to ensure free and fair election, the Election Commission of India can invoke that article. Okay, so next this election, there is a doubt about the qualifying date. Okay, the qualifying date mentioned in the ECI order has no sanctity under the law. So this question to the conclude that SIR Bihar is not conformity with the provision of Representation of People Act. So ECI has denied, claim that its order has power under sections 21. Okay, so just read it out so you'll understand, because in your question it is clearly given that a Representation of People Act. So if possible, some section you need to remember, okay, so that you can write very good answer. So while you can write in conclusion, while enjoying enormous power under Article 324, Election Commission of India responsible to the rule of law should be amenable to the norms of social natural justice as for Supreme Court. Okay, this is what you have to follow. So next is quick fix. So budgetary allocation alone will not solve the R&D problem. What happened in India? We are not doing research and development, original research and development. Particularly our private sector, state are not coming forward. So that is the reason government recently approved 1 lakh crore for doing that under Anusandhan National Research Foundation. So here it is talking about we need to take a lot of steps that the availing, and because the fund will available to only those that are in the advanced or successful stage. So R&D is a area where we need to invest a lot, we need to nurture a lot, we need to have patience, and we need to have a robust R&D infrastructure. So that is what needed push to achieve the high quality R&D. Okay, dear student, these are the about the Bihar same about SAR special intensive drive. So just read it out. So this is all about 9th July newspaper analysis, dear student. So if you like this video, please like, subscribe to the channel and share this video with your friends. So dear student, if you have any suggestion, please write in the comment box. So I'll have to end our discussion here. Right, bye bye.